All right. All right. Hello, folks. Hello. It's me, Gordon. Today is Thursday. It's 4 p.m. Pacific daylight time, or whatever you call it, PDT, Pacific time. And we're going to record a couple of episodes today of the show. The first one is this one about why every creator must have a business mindset. And then, because I'm going to be traveling next week, I'm also going to pre-record an episode for next week's release. And you'll get to see a little bit about how that sausage is made as well. So that should be kind of fun and interesting. Excuse me. So I'm just going to get myself organized here a little bit and make sure I've got everything the way it needs to be got. And then I'm ready to record. If you're watching live, I'd love it if you would drop a note, say something in the comments, and let me know you're here. And if you're not watching live, but you watch later, a hashtag or just a comment is great. And if you have a topic you think I should cover on the show, I'd love to hear your feedback from that. You can just drop that in the comments as well. You know, we go live with this as a live stream as we record the episode. And then all we do is just trim down the beginning and end of each episode. But we go live on, let me think if I can name all the channels. We go live on Facebook and YouTube and LinkedIn, Twitter and Twitch, and there's one other, and I don't remember what it is off the top of my head. But we are streaming live so that folks can watch wherever they prefer to get their content and enjoy the process. So, I didn't do my lights and everything else today. That's all right. We'll live with it the way it is and get into this topic. So, hey, if you're watching the show, please do click follow or subscribe or whatever it is on your the platform of choice. And if you're on YouTube, of course, that notify bell will help make sure that you get a little flag whenever we go live and do the show. Appreciate that. And let's get started here. See how this goes. I have to make an adjustment here I've got a weird setting on my little prompter screen. So let's see if I can make this work. All right, here we go. Why every creator must have a business mindset. Hi again, everybody. I'm Gordon Firemark, the podcast lawyer, and today a non-legal but very important. Well, hello and welcome back. I am Gordon Firemark. This is Legit Podcast Pro, the show where we help creators and entrepreneurs build a solid foundation for their businesses. Today, we're going to explore what I'm calling the business mindset and why every creator should adopt one. We'll cover what professionals and businesses do that hobbyists and amateurs don't, and I'm going to try to give you actionable takeaways to help you develop a business mindset. So first off, what is it that professionals and businesses do that hobbyists and amateurs don't? Well, professionals and businesses approach their work with a strategic mindset. They understand that their work is not just a hobby, but it's a business that requires a plan and goals and consistent action. They have a clear understanding of their target audience and of how to market their audience, how to market their products and services to that audience. They also understand the importance of building relationships with their customers and providing excellent customer service. Now, by contrast, hobbyists and amateurs, they tend to approach the work a little more casually without having that clear plan or understanding of the target audience. Now, to develop a strategic mindset, consider taking a course or a workshop on a business planning or something similar like that on marketing. Joining professional associations or networking groups can help you connect with other pros in your field or other fields and learn from their experiences. Actually, I think there's a lot to be said for learning from people in other industries and adopt what works, and adapt it to your needs. Reading books and articles on business strategy and entrepreneurship can also be a helpful approach. The second thing to do if you're looking to adopt a more business-like mindset is beginning with the end in mind. Ask yourself, why are you doing this? Before you start any project, it is important to have a clear understanding of why you're doing it. What is the end goal? Is it to make money, build a brand, create something meaningful, achieve an impact? Knowing your purpose will help you to stay motivated and focused, and it will guide you as you make decisions throughout the project. Visualize what success is going to look like, but try to get in touch not just with a visual image, but make it as visceral as possible. What does it feel like? What does that success feel like? Connecting your intention with specific sounds, sights, tastes, smells, and tactile sensations can make it so much more real for you. And that is a very big step toward manifesting the results you're after. Number 3 is determine core values and mission and purpose. To develop a business mindset, you've got to determine what are those core values. What is the mission that you're on? What is the purpose behind what you're doing? What do you stand for? What do you want to achieve? What impact do you want to have on the world? Defining these factors will help you to make decisions that align with your values and your mission, and it'll give you a sense of purpose and direction. Reflect on what is most important and what you want to achieve with your work. Write down your core values, your mission, your purpose statement. Consider what makes your work unique and how it can make a positive impact on the world, and share those values, mission, and purpose with others, your audience, to build a community of like-minded people. Number 4, set goals. Once you know your purpose and values, time to set those goals. What do you want to achieve? How are you going to measure success? Setting goals will help you to stay focused and motivated, and it will give you a clear roadmap for how to achieve your objectives. It is important to set goals that are realistic, but also that challenge you, but they have to be achievable. So big, hairy, scary goal, great, but you also want to have this would be a perfectly satisfactory achievement kind of level goal. Write down your goals. Now, most goal-setting experts recommend the SMART method. That is, make sure that your goal is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. SMART. So what is it you're going to do? How are you going to measure that it's been done? Can you actually accomplish it? What does it mean for your business? And when are you going to get this thing done? Break down your long-term goals into smaller, achievable milestones. Make sure that the goals are aligned with your values and your mission and your purpose, or else you're not going to do them. Write down the goals, track your progress towards them, and celebrate the achievements along the way so you stay motivated. This episode is brought to you by Easy Legal Forms and Templates for Podcasters. If you're a legit podcast pro, you want to protect your intellectual property and ensure that content is used appropriately. Easy Legal Forms and Templates for Podcasters can help. Our form store at podcastlawforms.com provides a variety of legal forms and templates specifically for podcasters, including host and co-host agreements, DMCA takedown notices, release forms, and much more. With these easy downloadable templates, you can customize the forms you need in just minutes. Plus, our affordable bundle and a la carte pricing makes it easy to get the protection you need without breaking the bank. Visit podcastlawforms.com today. Easy, legal, affordable forms and templates for podcasters. Podcastlawforms.com. So we're talking about the reasons why every creator must have a business mindset. We've covered 4 of those reasons so far, and now we come to number 5. Figure out strategies and tactics and then make a plan. Once you have your goals in place, it is time to figure out how you're going to achieve them. This involves developing a plan that outlines the strategies and the tactics that you will use to reach your objectives. Now, the plan should include specific actions you'll take, timelines, metrics for measuring success, because while your plan may change over time, having a roadmap will help you stay on track. Take some time to brainstorm different strategies and tactics that can help you achieve your goals. Research that target audience, your competitors, and industry trends to inform your planning. Consult with experts. Don't assume that you'll have all the answers yourself. Write down the plan and include, again, specific actions, timelines, and metrics for measuring success. Metrics are hugely important here. Choose 2 or 3 indicators that you'll use that will reflect how things are going so you can keep tabs on them and make sure that you're headed toward your progress, toward your goal. Next, number 6, implement. Once your plan is in place, it's time to take action. Choose the right time to implement your plan, but don't hesitate. Take big, bold, sustained, consistent action to make your goals a reality. Now, this might involve stepping outside of your comfort zone and taking some risks, but it is important to keep yourself focused on the goals, those values, the purpose, and the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, and then keep moving forward. And this is where a lot of people tend to stumble or fall short of their own expectations. Things get real when it's time to actually do the tasks. So make it as easy as possible to grasp what needs to be done, when, how, and so on, and take action on the plan by breaking it down into smaller, manageable tasks. Prioritize your tasks based on their importance and urgency. Set deadlines for each task, and then hold yourself accountable to them. And again, reward yourself at the end of a good day when you've done your tasks and maybe some more than that. Take consistent action towards your goal, even when it feels challenging. Remember, Jerry Seinfeld famously said that he made a rule for himself that he was going to write 1 joke a day. And on a calendar, he would make, in a felt tip pen, he would mark each with an X each day through once he had written a joke per day. And his goal was never break the chain. So he wanted to see that calendar every month filled up with X's, no blank spots. That is a great approach to being consistent, just as long as it's small. 1 joke a day for Jerry was enough. If you do 1 thing a day on that scale, you'd be amazed at how much progress you make in really short amounts of time. Number 7 is be prepared to adjust and compromise and pivot. It is important, of course, to be prepared for this. No battle plan has ever survived first contact with the enemy. Your plan might not survive contact with the real world, and you will probably need to make changes along the way. So be flexible and adaptable. It'll help you to stay on course even when things don't go as you've planned. Really important to regularly review your progress, adjust your plan as needed, and stay open to new opportunities and ideas. And regularly review not just the plan, but the metrics and your progress. It is essential. You want to look at those metrics and make sure your strategies and tactics are working, getting you where you're going. Progress toward your goals matters, and adjust your plan as needed if you're not seeing the kind of progress you want. But don't discard the plan entirely. Just be open to feedback from others and consider new ideas and opportunities, and be willing to make compromises and adjust your trajectory, pivot a little bit if that's necessary in order to stay aligned with your values, mission, and purpose. You may find as you get into it that your plan takes you in a direction you didn't exactly want to go. So stay flexible and be adaptable, because changes in the market or the industry will come along as well, and you want to be ready, willing, and able to deal with them. Well, that's going to be it for this episode. Thank you for tuning in to Legit Podcast Pro this week. Remember, developing a business mindset is essential for every creator or entrepreneur who wants to succeed. By following these actionable takeaways that I've shared with you today, you can start to develop a strategic mindset that'll get you moving toward your goals and help you build a successful business with what you're doing. And join us next time. We're going to be exploring other topics related to how to build a thriving creative business. See you again soon. All right, I'm back. I'm going to just got to stop the little teleprompter thing so that the script for number 2 doesn't scroll by me. Anyway, hey, nice to see folks. Dave is here. Hello, Dave. Nice to see you. Yeah, behind the scenes camera, I've got one camera over here and one back over there, and that's camera B and camera C. Hello. Yeah, I'm having fun with it, and it's nice to be able to just do that as a little intro. And you see Luke in that shot. In which shot? This shot here. You got Luke the cat. And I always have a little company in here when I'm recording and stuff. So, yeah, nice to see you, Dave. And Bashir is here as well. Hey, nice to see you. Let me let the cat out. Go ahead, Luke. Get out. Go. So rather than being on one side or the other of the door, he needs to be in the doorway. Oh, there he goes. All right. So, Bashir, thank you. Good to see you too. Yeah, professionalism. That's what I'm talking about. That's sort of my message basically is that getting things done in a professional way is going to get you the best traction in moving toward your goals. And getting the professionals, what professionals do is they have a plan and they implement it on a regular basis, consistent, bold action. And they also get the fundamentals squared away. Be talking about fundamentals in another episode in a couple of weeks. But yeah, this is what I'm here for. So, any questions? How about topics for the future? I'd love to hear from you if you've got an idea for something you'd like to have me cover on Legit Podcast Pro. Yeah, yeah. Hey, if you're watching live and you would like to be notified when we're doing this, go ahead and click follow or subscribe or whatever it's called on whatever platform you are on. And if you're on YouTube, of course, they've got that notify bell, ring-a-ling-a-ling, that'll let you get an alert in real time as soon as I click the button to go live. So that would be kind of cool. And yeah, so I have to fix something here. So just bear with me while I do this thing I'm going to do. And I need to change out the title slide because I'm going to do another episode here in just a moment. And you'll see what I'm talking about. Oops, there's that bell ringing thing again. Wait a minute, am I still in? All right, I'm going to publish my changes. I went into a preview mode, so I'm going back to live mode. And we're going to record the other episode for today in just a second here. All right. Okay, so as soon as this thing goes away, come on. All right. Something's hanging up my system. That's not usually happening, but here we go. Yeah, Dave, the cat's never going to be, we joke, they're never on the correct side of a closed door. The dog is that way too. And she comes in and scratches at my leg until I stand up and walk over there. And then oftentimes she looks at me like, why'd you open the door, Dad? So I don't know. If I figure them out, I'll be way ahead of the game. But it sometimes just give me food. But we have a pretty set schedule around here. Anyway, all right, I'm going to do another episode here. This time I'm going to be talking about 5 things every podcaster should know about pay-to-play podcasting. But Dave said the topic that always seems to come up everywhere I go is music and video accessibility. What's legal to use and what's not. The time limit answer always comes up, anything under 5 seconds and all that. The short answer, I'll do an episode on that. That's a good point. Good topic. There is no rule of thumb about how much you can use. 5 seconds of one song might be too much, and 30 seconds of another might be just right. So unfortunately, no rule of thumb. That we're talking about the doctrine of fair use that comes up under copyright law. So I am going to put a marker in my video stream here just so I have that for later. And I should have been doing it as I went through my other thing. But in any case, I'll do it on the second round. Okay. I'm going to get ready. I'm going to do the second episode. I'll come back again after the fade to black. So stick around and we can chit chat some more. If anybody has any other ideas about topics or comments that they'd like to share with me, I would love to hear from you. But I'm going to do another. This, I think, is going to be a shorter episode. I'm actually going to be traveling next week at the time when I would normally be recording this. So I'm going to pre-record for that, and then it will air live next week as well. But you'll already have seen it, so it's up to you whether you want to watch it. Anyway, here we go. Let me just get myself situated here. All right, turn this thing on. And here we go. 5 things every podcaster needs to know about pay-to-play podcasting. Hello, everybody. I'm Gordon Firemark. Welcome to Legit Podcast Pro, the show where I share business tips. All right. Hello, welcome. It's Legit Podcast Pro, the show where I share business and legal tips and information and strategies for content creators like you, so you never have to wonder, because I'm going to give you the answers, the straight dope, right here, right now. So here we go. Today we're talking about 5 things that you need to know about. This episode is brought to you. I don't know what just. I've got all kinds of crazy stuff. I'm going to have to start over with this episode. All right, going back. I'm going to do it again. Something weird happening here. Come on. I've never had this problem before. All right, coming back to here. And that's not the right screen either. God. All right, turn off this thing. Scroll. There we go. All right, we'll try this again. Take 2. Here we go. Marker. And five things every podcaster should know about pay-to-play podcasting. Welcome to Legit Podcast Pro. I'm Gordon Firemark. See you right after this. Well, all right. Welcome to Legit Podcast Pro. This is the show where I share business and legal tips and information and strategies for content creators like you, so you never have to wonder, because I'm giving you the answers. So hi there. As you probably know, I typically record this episode while I'm live streaming at the same time, but I'm on the road this week speaking at the Sublimation Summit in Peachtree City, Georgia. So this episode is being pre-recorded, and it might just be a little shorter than the usual episode, but don't worry, we'll be back in the saddle of the regular schedule next week. So we're going to talk about 5 things that you need to know as a creator about pay-to-play podcasting. Pay-to-play podcasting is a practice where podcasters charge guests or advertisers for the opportunity to appear on the podcast. And a few things that you need to know about this, and I'm just going to run through a few of them really quickly here. First off, pay-to-play podcasting is not the norm. Most podcasters don't charge guests or advertisers to appear on their show, and in fact, many podcasters view the practice of pay-to-play podcasting as unethical and exploitive. Secondly, pay-to-play podcasting can be risky for your reputation. If you start charging guests or advertisers to appear on your podcast, well, that could come out and it would damage your reputation as a podcaster. Your listeners may start to view you as someone who's only in it for the money rather than providing valuable content, useful information, and so on. And in fact, when I informally surveyed my college media law students, almost all of them said that knowing that a guest paid to be on the podcast might make them stop listening and find something else to consume instead. Number 3, pay-to-play podcasting can limit the guest pool. If you charge guests to appear on your podcast, you're limiting the pool of potential guests to those who are willing or able to pay. And that could prevent you from booking higher quality guests who have valuable insights and perspectives to share with your audience. Now, it also limits it in a good way in that you are not going to have to pick and choose from among a lot of of potential guests who were just hoping for some free publicity, right? So something to think about. Number 4 on my list of things you should know about pay-to-play podcasting is that it can be a violation of advertising guidelines and regulations for endorsers that have been put out by the U.S. government. If you charge folks to appear on your podcast, you could be violating the guidelines set forth by the Federal Trade Commission here in the States. The FTC requires that advertisers disclose any material connection they have with a product or a service that they are promoting, and the guest in many instances is either the product or the vendor of the service that they're there to promote. And if you're charging advertisers or guests to appear on your podcast, well, that is a material connection. They're giving you money in exchange for access to your audience. A good comparison here is to the payola scandals that rocked the radio industry back in the 1950s and 60s. A series of controversies in the music industry, where the record companies were paying DJs on the radio to play their songs on the air in order to increase the popularity and sales for those records. And the practice was illegal and unethical, and it led to congressional investigations, and a few people went to jail. And it gave an unfair advantage to certain artists and deprived certain listeners, deprived all the listeners, of access to a diverse and authentic musical experience. Those scandals led to increased regulation of the industries and a greater emphasis on transparency and integrity in the relationship between the record labels, the artists, and the radio stations. This is something we podcasters really, and other content creators for that matter, really need to start thinking about. Because if we don't self-regulate in this area and adopt the regulations as they currently exist, the practice could become a target for governments to try to regulate things even further. So if you're going to do pay to play, be scrupulous about disclosing the financial relationship between guest and podcaster so that audiences are fully informed when they choose to listen or watch a particular show. So, number 5, pay to play really isn't going to work for most podcasters. It's probably only going to work for you if you've got either a really big audience that is highly targeted, so guests will desperately want to be on the show and reach those folks, or your audience is so narrowly niched down and targeted that some brands, it's just such a good fit that they really want to get in front of them. But in that latter scenario, think about other ways. Explore this possibility of maybe a more traditional advertising or sponsorship relationship, or of creating a branded podcast or a series that is specifically for that brand, something they can really call their own. It's possible you could actually get them to pay you to make the episodes for and with them, and then you can do a cross promotion or a feed drop in your RSS feed or something like that, which will help them to attract your audience over to that new show, and they can get their message out in front of them that way. You'd still have to do some of those disclosures and things, but it's a little easier to get the messaging right in a branded show. So I know that there are some big podcasters out there who are making bank doing pay to play. And yeah, I know a lot of them aren't doing the disclosures I talked about. So I think that's illegal, and it's just a matter of time before the regulators take note. But either way, in my opinion, the drawbacks of pay to play outweigh the potential benefit for most podcasters. This can damage your reputation. It limits your guest pool and probably violates some advertising guidelines as well. So if you ask me, it's important to focus on making high quality content that attracts guests and advertisers naturally, rather than relying on pay to play tactics. So that's going to do it for this episode of Legit Podcast Pro. I'm Gordon Firemark, the podcast lawyer, and I will be back again next week with another episode. Thanks for being here. In the meantime, go out and create something amazing and make your impact on the world, so we have the kind of positivity in this industry that we desire. And listen, if you've got a topic that you would like to cover on Legit Podcast Pro, let me know in the comments. And if you'd like to be a guest on the show, if you have something to contribute there, do that as well. Let me know, and we'll get that into the pipeline. So that's it for this episode. See you again next time. Thanks for listening. Okay, Dave, let's see. Oh, thanks. Another. Personally, I'm curious about my podcast when I go live with coverage of news stories, news stations, and all that. How do I know what I can air uh, video wise when it comes to news clips? If I want to air some commentary from Don Lemon or Tucker or local news, what's my legal obligations? What can I get in trouble for? Is it easier to air something interesting from C-SPAN? Are permissions necessary from all of them? Okay, so great. What about State of the Union? Can I air portions of that without fear? Okay, so multiple layers to this question, Dave, but let me see if I can give you a little bit of an answer now, and then I'm going to do an episode on this because I think it's a great topic. Thank you. So if it's government video, C-SPAN, government funded channel that covers Congress and activities inside the houses of government, yeah, if you get it from C-SPAN, my understanding is that they do not enforce, they don't have any copyright. So you are allowed to do that. Works of the US government are not protected by copyright law. So that's fair game. If it's coming out of the government cameras, government, that kind of stuff, you're good. Now, when it's like a State of the Union address that you pull off of CBS's news feed or something like that, technically speaking, they have a copyright on their broadcast, but really the only original material they add to it may be that bottom lower third, if there's a lower third. It may be the bug with the network logo on it. Maybe they cut away for a little commentary here and there, and I would stay away from the commentary. But certainly when that president is talking and you're getting it off the regular commercial news channels, only their original components are entitled to any copyright protection at all, and even then, it's sort of thin protection. So if you're doing it to comment on it and criticize it, it's probably going to fall under the fair use exception. And as long as you're not rebroadcasting the entire broadcast from CBS or Fox or ABC, NBC, whatever, you should be pretty good there. Now, when it's something off of, just an ordinary news event or something like that, that only one network might have covered or whatever, it gets a little more iffy. If you are reacting to it in sort of real time as you're playing it, and if you're talking over it, or if you've got video, there's a guy I know that I think is doing interesting, well, a lot of them actually, the reaction videos, right? On YouTube, you see the host of the show in a window, or in a circle overlaid, picture in picture kind of a thing. And they're talking about what they're seeing. Maybe they even pause the video and discuss it for a second, and then they come back. That kind of reaction video probably lands in the fair use arena. Notice I'm saying probably. That's because fair use, there are no rules of thumb, and we're supposed to do the full 4-factor, multi-factor analysis every single time. But I'll cover that in an episode soon. But if as long as you're reacting, doing criticism, commentary, newsy kind of stuff, or educational kind of stuff, you're probably on the side of the angels for this kind of thing. When it's it's creating a substitute viewing experience and taking large swaths of the material, that's when it starts to be more troublesome. So you could blur out that bottom third or crop it, or cover it with your own bottom third. That's a way to do it. Commercial type talk shows like The View, it's more difficult. Yes, it is more difficult. Although again, if you're doing newsy kind of coverage of what so and so said when they appeared on The View, then yeah, I think that if there's criticism and commentary to be made, you're okay. Now, that is strictly legally speaking, that's the answer. If you're posting this thing on YouTube, it's entirely possible their algorithm is going to catch it and take it down automatically, or the monetization, the money will be shifted and pointed at the correct rights holders. So, if you get a takedown, I would say then we want to dive into this a little more carefully. I think YouTube's getting pretty good about recognizing fair use stuff, and the algorithm doesn't automatically do those things. Where it gets even more less fair use, let's put it that way, when it becomes something like if you're doing showing a big piece of footage from an entertainment show, like pick a show, the This Is Us or Family, whatever it's called, Modern Family, those kind of things. When you're showing that footage, Again, unless you're doing hardcore criticism commentary or you're using it to illustrate a point about one of the performers that's in the news or something, that might be okay. But again, um, the news organizations, the bona fide news organizations, the network newscasters, those kind of folks, they've got this figured out pretty well. And to a certain extent, if you emulate what they do, you're good. But most of us doing podcasts are creating something that's a little less hard news and more something else, and maybe less likely to be deemed that way. So, great question, Dave. Thank you so much for this. I'm going to definitely put it on the slate for how can you find out ahead of time? You can't. You can't. I mean, you can go ask them for permission. Hey, I'm going to do a story about so and so, and I need some footage of Sofia Vergara. Love that scene in episode 6, and do it. But you're going to spend days and weeks of your time chasing down the rights and getting licenses and maybe even being asked to pay money. If you're going to rely on fair use, this is one of those. It's a risk you take, and a lot depends. So I'll cover all the 4 factors in the episode, but it's the purpose and character of the alleged infringing use that is the first factor. The second factor is the nature of the original work, sort of as compared to the new work, and is it somehow transformed by this new work. The third one is the amount and substantiality. It's a qualitative and quantitative analysis of what have you taken, how much of it in relation to the original work as a whole. And then the fourth factor, is the potential impact on the market for or value of the original. So if there is a robust licensing market for clips and things, and there is, that does have an impact on the bottom line of the owners of the footage. So that could be a thing. So I would say keep the snippets short and make sure you're clearly criticizing and opining on what's going on, and you should be okay. But that is not legal advice you can rely on. You're supposed to do this analysis for every single clip on its own, standing alone. Sorry, I know that's not a satisfying answer. Except for the lawyers that get to charge money when our clients come and ask us to do the analysis, which is what I'm supposed to be doing right now after the show is over. So I have a film to review and do clearance work. And yeah, I mean, Dave, what little I know about your show, I think commenting on social stuff and what's going on in the world is your style. So I would expect that you're fine. Just if you get a takedown, we should talk. But yeah, I think that's unlikely. So just a thumbnail opinion without looking at specific episodes and content, of course. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here, everybody. I am grateful to you for your attention. Your eyeballs and earballs are valuable to me, and I don't take it lightly. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'll see you again in a couple of weeks. Like I said, I won't be here live next week because of the conference that I'll be speaking at, but I'll be back in 2. So see you then.